evening, everybody, and welcome to Live Up to Freedom. Your host, I know Zanny Cyrus. It's exciting to be back. This is my second stream this week, which is exciting. And I should probably say a special hello and good evening to our audience on Rumble channel of Lou Dobbs Media. It is good to be back on this channel as well. Let me just mention we are live, and I will do my very best to pay attention to all the comments, and I will address any comments if you have any comments, and I will make sure to address any questions possibly you might have. Okay, so I know the topic that I picked for today is the Satanic Verses book by Salman Rushdie and how he changed his life. And I picked that topic because, one, I figured it's very relevant to what's happening today outside of what we hear. Also, I had many of my audience who are very well aware of Islamization asking me questions about it. So I figured that's what we're going to cover. However, before I get to the whole Salman Rushdie concept and the Satanic Verses, I do want to address something that I said today on my Facebook, and I want to expand on that. I mentioned on my Facebook that they want him dead. They really want him dead. By him, of course, we're talking about President Trump. Now, I know supposedly this morning, there were explosives found, evacuation, and then now there are different stories coming out. Of course, number one, we thank God always for protecting President Trump and all of us who are under attack. But what I want to address is we're going to hear a lot of different stories. It's going to be up to us to figure it out, right? Read between the lines, figure out what we're not being told, figure out what we are being told, figure out what's being twisted. But while going through all of that, sorting all of that out, listening to those we trust, journalists, reporters, anchors, hosts, whatever we want to call them, we also need to really, really carefully trust our instinct and listen for the guidance. Because at the end of the day, I know this is cliche, right? They're going after him because he's between us and them, said by himself, President Trump, not me. I'm not that brilliant to come up with phrases like that. But bottom line is this is definitely beyond politics. This is beyond left and right. This is beyond right and wrong. This is a spiritual battle, which, again, is very connected to what we will discuss today. It's a spiritual battle, and I will reach out with next sentence to my fellow Christians. We need to pray, absolutely. But then prayers by itself isn't enough today. Maybe it was 5 years ago, maybe it was 10 years ago. Today, prayers aren't enough. We need to be way more proactive. Do the prayers, trust in God, and ask for his protection, of course, but then also pay attention to what you see and what you hear. I do believe strongly that all of us humans, we were born and given the brain cells to use to know the difference between the truth, lies, propaganda, manipulation. We just need to work just a tad bit harder to understand, right? So I'm really hoping you will do that. Of course, let's boost up prayers for President Trump as they really, really have stepped up their game to try to either take him out or corner him or push him out. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. I think by now it's proven that President Trump is not the type of man who's going to be scared away or stop doing what he's doing. If anything, every time there's a attack, feels like he gets stronger and fights harder. And I do want to address one more thing that seemed a little ridiculous, and it bothers me. I still see comments out there on social media, especially one of them was literally on my own page today of, well, have you thought about the other scenario? Maybe he's setting up all these or staging all these assassination attempts because every time he does that, his numbers goes up on the poll. Seriously? Do we even entertain that idea? Whatever. Like, literally, I got nothing. I absolutely got nothing. I don't know what to tell people who would say that, who would think that, right? It's ridiculous. It's crazy. But okay, whatever. We'll let it be. And I want to make sure, hold on, let me click here, have the comments open so I can see the comments from everywhere. So, yep, that's all I got for those who think this is a setup. Because, well, it's not. Okay, let's get to it. I do have this book right here. And many of you may not know what it says. Those fellow Iranians or Afghans or Tajiks or Pakistanis or Indians who do know how to read Farsi. It is in Farsi, Satanic Verses with Salman Rushdie. Second line, Salman Rushdie. The reason I'm showing you this right here is to make sure we avoid anybody who's going to say, well, you never read the book. You don't know what you're talking about. I've read this book, Satanic Verses, in both Farsi and English. I read it more than once, of course. Some chapters I have read more than 10 times. Some lines I have read over and over. I'll be honest with you, some of them are so sweet to read as an ex-Muslim. Extremely sweet to read over and over and over and know what's behind it. You're like, this is good. Brilliant. And I do want to say that I am a huge fan of Salman Rushdie. Not necessarily his pen, as we say in Farsi, not his style of writing necessarily. I'm a fan of him for doing what he did and then sticking to it. You know, many writers would have pulled a book, come out and apologize for writing it, whatever. Salman Rushdie didn't. Okay, let's get to it. Satanic Verses. Published in 1988, right? By author Salman Rushdie, Indian-British writer. His style of writing, actually, is fantasy novels. Wow. How did that happen, right? Someone who writes fantasy novels become targeted and the most wanted dead man by Islamic society. Whew. I'll tell you how. Now, those of you who are familiar with this story or are already familiar, I'm going to go over it quickly. In 1988, the Satanic Verses was published, originally in India. And very shortly after that, outrage, of course, by Muslims. Blasphemy, blasphemy, blasphemy. What's the punishment in blasphemy? Either you're a Muslim or not, whatever you are, blasphemy equals death. So back then, Supreme Leader of Islamic Republic of Iran in 1988, Ayatollah Khomeini came out and put a fatwa, known as judgment, a bounty on Salman Rushdie's head. Death was the bounty. And he didn't stop there. He expanded it to anyone involved with the book. The publishing company, the authors, the editors, that anybody, everybody involved. Just kill them all, right? 9-5. Kill them wherever you find them. So what did India do? They banned the book in India. And then some of the Western countries picked up the book, translated it, published it. Hey, as I said, this book has been translated to Farsi, where the original fatwa comes from, where the Supreme Leader put a bounty on Salman Rushdie's head for this very book, came out in Farsi. It is available in Farsi. Can you find it in the stores in Iran? No. If you are ever caught with this book that I'm holding in my hand in Islamic Republic of Iran, you are dead. Like officially dead. There is no F spots, different scenarios. You're dead if you're found with this book that I'm waving around proudly. And I do want to put a little parenthesis here. For those of you who have followed me for a long time, for those of you who know me on a personal level, this book, aside what it stands for, and I mean, it's a good book. Seriously. Depend on which translation you read or which publication you read. It could be a little confusing on the way they formatted the chapters, but it's a good book, right? Aside that, this book is very precious to me, extremely precious. And I will tell you this, and even those who know me very closely your jaw might drop. This book was given to me, this very copy was given to me by my mother. Yes. At some point, she thought, I am ready to understand this book and one day possibly even hold it in my hand and talk to you about it. So this is a precious gift given to me by my mother. The mother who was broken by the regime, by the Sheikh father, who was a Quran teacher. I'm just going to put this out there, right? So, parenthesis close on that note. This book has 9 chapters. Nothing major. Now, I see some comments are coming in, so I'm going to just give everybody a full minute. Those of you who have not read the book, those of you who have read this book, please just say read it on the comment section. It would be nice if you participate on this. Those of you who have not read the book, just throw an idea of what do you think this book is about. Satanic Verses, with everything you've heard about the book, just the title of it itself. Just I'm going to pull up the comment section of every platform right here and look and see what are your thoughts as I take a sip of my drink. What are your thoughts if you have not read this book? What are your thoughts about this? What do you think it's about? And I'm going to go ahead and address a couple of the comments while you hopefully participate and give me some answers here. Yes, correct, Josh. Closeted Democrats would say things like Trump is staging his own assassination because they would do it, right? It's the projection because they would always do that. Hi, Donald from Kentucky. How you doing? And yes, Freedom with Jesus, Chrissa. Again, we have all established that unfortunately majority of those who believe in the liberal side of life, especially in America or Western countries, they are delusional. And yes, a delusional person would definitely think, again, President Trump is staging that. Yes, Josh. Josh, seems like you looked up the book on Amazon, and yes, it is less than $16 for the paperback and $6 in Kindle version. It's yeah, it is. And okay, I got 2 people to respond. That's awesome. Joe says, I'm guessing Joe, you have not read the book. So, Evil Verses from the Quran. And Stephen Mix says, not read it, about Quran verses that reference Satan deceiving Muhammad? Question mark. And I think that's all the comments we're going to get on this question. Come on, guys. You used to be very engaging with me. Are you all mad that I have been gone for a while? Come on. Don't be like that. I'm back. Okay. Yes, Chrissa, this book is, I do believe, I don't know. I don't know if it is available in English and audiobook. So, sorry. That I cannot promise. Okay. Honestly, first time I have heard of the book you're speaking about. No opinion, nor judgments. Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. Gregory says it's very detailed in discussing relationships. Okay, it's good feedback on the book. Now, the closest. Okay, so this book, I'm going to open my cheats because if you think I memorized all of this, I'm not that young anymore. Has 9 chapters, as I said, right? And the whole 9 chapter can be wrapped up in 3 topics. Just 3 topics. Not in order of 3 chapter per topic, by the way. That's not how it is. I'm not going to name chapters because, as I said, for example, when I read the Farsi version of it, there's chapter 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. And then when I read the English one, it's the 1, 2, 7, 8, 5. So it's like completely different. But there are 2 chapters that talks about it, Aisha, not the wife of Muhammad Aisha, some Aisha girl, just a person named Aisha. There are 2 chapters that talk about Mohand, which for those of you who may not be familiar with that language, Mohand in certain Western languages back in the time meant Satan or devil, which some of the leaders of Muhammad time used to call him Mohand because they believe that Muhammad has come with this false religion of Islam, therefore he's Satan. That's 4 chapters of the book. The remaining 5 chapters is about 2 characters named Salahuddin and Jibril, which Jibril, at the beginning of the book, due to a plane crash, these 2 Indian guys, Salahuddin and Jibril, both survived the crash. Salahuddin turns into evil. Jibril turns into a Gabriel, I think that's how you pronounce it, the angel. Okay, so 5 chapters are about angel versus evil, 2 chapters about an Aisha character, and 2 chapters about Mohad, who has the characteristics of Muhammad. So that's where the whole story is. Not a word about Quran. You with me so far? Nothing about Quran. Nobody has talked about Quran yet. And Mix is the closest. There is a story. We'll start from the story. You with me? There is a story that claims that when Muhammad, supposedly the prophet of Islam, was reciting the verses of Quran chapter 53, the star and Najm, he lays on the ground with hands open and starts praising 3 verses, only 3 verses, while praising the devil, by saying that the 3 biggest statue or gods of the pagans back then, named the 3 daughters, who are the daughters of Allah, referring in that story as Allah is the Satan, who's the father of these 3 goddesses. This has nothing to do with the book. I repeat, for now, this is the story. Of course, as always, Muslims and muftis and leaders and supreme leaders and all of them do what? Deny. This is a story, nothing but a story. It doesn't exist. It's blasphemy. But we can go back to the very original 4. Now we're going to go to 4 people. There are 4 writers whom are the first 4 people to write the Sirah, Muhammad's biography. I'm going to name them. Ibn Asaq, Bakidi, Ibn Sa'id, and Tabari are the first 4 people who wrote the biography of Muhammad. All 4 of them refer to this story within Sirah, the story of Muhammad. Now, the last name I told you, Tabari, is the most reliable, right? Tabari is one of the Sirahs, or biography of Muhammad, written by Tabari, that is absolutely relied on and used by all sects of Islam, Sunni, Shia, Wahhabis, and everybody else. A very reliable source has referred to this story that momentarily Satan took over Muhammad, spoke through Muhammad's tongue, and then Allah came back and fixed it. How did Allah fix it? The same way Allah always fixes it, right? This one, I will put it up. Now, what did I say? It was chapter 53 that Muhammad was reciting when it happened, right? Now, mind you, the order, I have gone over this on my other programs that you can find on my website, liveuptofreedom.com, and I will do it again because somebody actually asked me to go through the entire order. The order of revelation of Quran is not what you read in the Quran, okay? Chapter 5 is not the 5th chapter that was revealed to Muhammad. It's very much complicated. It's very twisted. Why? Because they wanted to make sure when we talked about the rule of abrogation, we couldn't prove it. We couldn't say chapter 5 abrogates anything before chapter 5 because they were not revealed last. I'm not going to get too sidetracked on this. But when this happens, through the biography, we established that this happened. Then, after chapter 53, the star, comes another chapter, which in the Quran, it says chapter 22. I'm going to literally put it on the screen because if I can't pronounce words correctly, I'll give you enough time to read it. Chapter 22, verse 52 says, "And we did not send before you any messenger or prophet, except that when he spoke or recited, Satan threw into it some misunderstanding. But Allah abolishes that which Satan throws in. Then Allah makes precise his verses, and Allah is knowing and wise." We could continue reading the rest of it. I don't want to do that, but this is chapter 22, verse 52, 3, 4, 5. You can go on and on and on, right? From 52 down on chapter 22. This is where things got a little iffy, because if it didn't happen, if the biography is made up, if all four first writers made it up, why was there a need for Allah to come and correct the mess up by Muhammad? Or better yet, why did Muhammad have to pretend like Allah just sent another couple of verses to fix what Muhammad did previously? So on that note, with many other hadith backing this verse up and many other pieces of experts to back this up, and honestly, this is super easy to find. All you need to do, literally just say Muhammad and the Satanic Verses. Google this. Of course, a lot of Salman Rushdie stuff comes up, but if you sort through that, you get to some of the well-established full 10 pages of evidence on, yes, Muhammad did cite Satanic Verses. Now, that being said, at some chapter on this book, it comes to where Moheb, on one of the chapters where we talk about Moheb on Satanic Verses, the book, now we're going to the book, it becomes very clear that yes, at this given moment, Salman Rushdie is directly hinting at Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, is speaking on behalf of Satan. That is where Satanic Verses come from. It has nothing to do with the existing verses of Quran. This book, nowhere in it, not a word, does it talk about neither Allah nor Quranic verses. Now, it doesn't even talk directly about Muhammad itself either, but it is very evident, it's very clear, you can easily look through it, you can read through it, even if you don't know much about Islam, even if you just heard about something of Islam and Muhammad, you can connect the dots. Mainly, it's the hint at Aisha, as I said. Now, again, Aisha isn't, the character in the book has nothing to do with the 6-year-old girl who Muhammad married. No, it doesn't. But the fact that he dared talk about a woman named Aisha who deceived the people, claiming she knows and she talks to God and she's a, know-it-all, that was offensive enough. For him to bring up the concept of the Satanic Verses coming out of Muhammad's mouth was blasphemy, as I said at the beginning. Even those who talk about right now, this very given moment, I just committed blasphemy on top of every other crime of Sharia I have committed. Here we go. Now, this is what the book is about. Again, I really say, if you have the time, if you're a reader like I am, grab a copy of it, as Josh just mentioned. Pretty cheap. Wait, guys, are we still on? Somebody tell me, because Dennis commented saying still live. I think I am, but if I'm not, then it's fun that I've been talking to myself for last, I don't know how long. It'd be fun. So if you could just let me know if you can still see the feed. Oh, perfect. Okay, Rhonda says we are. Perfect. Awesome. So that's where, the book is about. I still say it's pretty reasonable. Get a copy and read it, just because I think it's brilliantly written. And it's fun. He has that humor in it. Now let's go back to the fatwa. The backlash to this day. Khomeini never read the book. And he just said blasphemy. Millions of Muslims when saying blasphemy. Technically, by definition, it is very easy to prove that 95% of Muslims, and if you go back and look, 1988, 89, early 80s, dragged on. There are hundreds and thousands of them are on the streets of, you name the country, they're on the streets with banners and threats towards Salman Rushdie, right? This guy had to be literally taken into hiding. For years, he lived in hiding. Nobody knew where he's at, right? And that's where I say kudos to him, because he could have just come out and say, I'm sorry, forgive me, I repent, and that's all, and move on with his life. He didn't do that. you see hundreds and thousands of Muslims on the streets wanting Salman Rushdie dead. Now, it's easy to prove 95% of these people on the streets never read the book. Why is it easy to prove? I'll tell you why. For example, let's say the people in Iran who were on the streets all worked up about killing Salman Rushdie. This book was not available in Farsi until about 10 years after its published. 97, 98 is when it was published in Farsi. How the heck did Iranian Muslims even know what's in the book to be upset about it? They didn't, because they didn't read it. Same thing in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in Iraq, because this book originally available originally Hindu, the original language of India. Now, as I said, India banned the book, so nobody in India could read it after like a month either. And you can't tell me the entire population of India suddenly in 1 month grabbed the book, read through it, and they're like all offended, right? Proven fact, I have said this many times, that majority of Muslims follow the orders of go kill them without knowing why they're going to kill someone. They don't know why they're going. And back in the time now, I can say in my case, fine, they take 2 seconds, watch one of my videos and that's it. I shall be killed. Okay, fine. Before 2009, 2010, there was no way of knowing that unless you went and followed somebody or read their book or their articles. You wouldn't be able to know what their crime is. Oh no, all it takes is one supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, to come out and say, blasphemy, go kill the guy. And the fact that thousands, tens of thousands are willing to do it, well, I guess there is a reason they say Islam is a religion of peace. Because the religion itself doesn't exist. There's a cult that has leaders who have pretty angry followers who will just go and kill because it was said so. It's literally the system of, why am I doing what you're asking me? Because I said so. If you don't kill them, then we kill you. If you side, literally earlier today, a very good friend of mine, Iranian friend of mine, is like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, pretty sure. The concept of me even having the thumbnail I created for this live feed set up earlier was rattling few Iranian friends of, you sure you want to actually grab this book and wave it around and talk about it? Yeah, I am. But I know what it means. Many of you know what it means. They know what it means. This is what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. 1988. I was what? 4.5 years old? I wasn't 5 yet because I'm at the end of the year, right? December. 4.5, let's say 5 years old when this fatwa came out. 2 years ago, on August 12th, 2022, when I was 38 years old, that means what? 33 years later. Talking about holding a grudge, huh? Some Hezbollah sympathizer in America, in New York, goes and stabs the life out of Salman Rushdie on a stage, which is a story of its own, which I will cover in 5 seconds. We're glad he survived. I am glad, and I'm actually going to put this favorite picture of mine of him up. Look at that. He lost one eye. He lost one hand, all nerves on one hand, neck area, all of that. Pretty bad damages. But just look at that smile. I don't know what you see, but I see what he's telling me to see. I'm still here. Because he is. Yes, it's tragic that 33 years after you wrote a book, 33 years later, with the advance of technology, advance of computer and internet and social media and medicine, everything, these barbaric 1400 years backward people are still looking for revenge on this man. So I don't know why, but I relate to that look and that smile. And good for him. But this is what we're dealing with. Well, we can sit here all day long, all night long, and talk about, well, this about Muslims and well, that about Muslims. The bottom line is 33 years of grudge is long. And if you think they're done, They're not. If the next Muslim gets an opportunity to finish the job with Salman Rushdie, they will do it. They'll do it because that's what they do. Because that's what they have to do. Because while they're raising you as a Muslim, they take away your sense of humanity. They turn you into Allah's slaves. You shall do what Muhammad did. You shall do what Allah told you to do. And there are plenty of middlemen like Khomeini and Khamenei and Muftis and rest of them, right? This is what we're dealing with. I promise to pay attention to the comments. I shall keep my promise. Let me see. Okay, so it won't let me scroll down. I agree. Actually, that's a great way of putting it, Stephen Mix. It's the world's biggest street gang. Yes, it is. And yes, Karen, it is from the pit of hell. And that's why I always agree, even though I've done another video. If you haven't caught that one, it was a while ago, but using Quran itself, I prove that Allah identifies as Satan. Josh, I will not read that comment out loud on air, but good for you. Yes, go ahead and blaspheme. Really, I did not know that, Joseph. Cat Stevens put a hot on the book's author when he became a Muslim. I guess his peace train derailed. Yes, that's the thing. I've always said it's offensive. I'll be fine with it. I'll take it. Majority of those who convert to Islam, especially men, I'm going to be sexist, go with it. Especially men, they convert to Islam because it gives them the tool to be angry, to be hateful, to be barbaric, to be... You fill in the gap. It's a perfect tool. My own father did it. My father wasn't a Muslim born. I have always said proudly, I have no drop of Islam in me by birth. Neither side of my families were Muslim. My father converted to Islam, remember? Because he was so angry and he just needed that authorization to go beat his wife and his daughters and do all the things he did under the umbrella of, well, Islam said I can. And he did. It was 1979 when the Ayatollah turned the world into a frightening place, brought destruction on his own country. Meanwhile, Iranians are unbelievably generous, humble, well-educated, gracious people. Well, I appreciate that, Karen, for saying that. Yes, I would like to say that Iranians have still maintained the original culture of Persia by trying as hard as they can. But yes, I would even go back though. 1979 is when Ayatollah Khomeini gained the ultimate power to bring destruction into the world. But even before that, the reason he was in France, the reason he was exiled was because before that he started it. He started way early on to try to create the destruction and chaos you see in the Middle East today. And his ultimate belief or dream was to expand it to where we're at right now. So his followers and his students are continuing his work. Sean says, more than just a street gang for the leaders, it is the world's greatest Ponzi sham. I think that's how we say it. There are so many different words and phrases and labels we can give Islam, but I normally reverse it. Instead of describing Islam, I have my most popular, went viral meme of all time with my face on it and my saying on it that says, to be a human is to be free from Islam. That's the best way as an ex-Muslim. That's the best way I can put it. You cannot be a human and a Muslim at the same time. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't. It gives me permission to be misogynistic. Yes. Hi, Christopher. So good to see you. So, yes, that's basically what it is, you know. Okay, sorry. Back to it. I think I did catch up with all the comments. If I missed your comment, I am so sorry. I will pay more attention. Oh, a scheme. Okay, perfect. Josh just corrected my pronunciation. There we go. Ponzi scheme. I mean, why would you write it SCHEME and then read it scheme? Like, what do I know? I didn't start English. That is not the language. I mean, I never started any language. So, Mohammed set it up that there is unending consequence and the leader gets a fifth of everything. Very true. Well, depending on how you look at it, Sean, because the leaders could get more than fifth. You know, if you're under the Shia, it's the fifth. But then in general, there's the Zakat, and then there's Homs, which is the fifth. So actually, the leaders could get way more than that. Stephen, no, I mean, that question, you're more than welcome. I'm an open book. I've always said any question you want to ask away, and I will answer as long as it's not about why I'm still single. I mean, not that I don't want to answer that. It's just my answers are really rude. I know this might be kind of personal, but I'm just curious. Since 1979, have you seen or talked to your parents? So, not that I love my age, but actually, I was born in 1983. And then, but no, since I left Iran, I have not spoken to the man who's supposedly my father. He did die in 2003, shortly after I made my way to America. He died. So, well, there's that. Even if I wanted to, not that I wanted to. I don't know. Maybe at some point I would. Anyways, distraction. I have not spoken. To my mother, yes. I spoke to my mother. I think the last time I spoke to her was a few months after she lost her battle to cancer back in 2019. So I hope that answers the question. No, Josh, Farsi is very hard to learn, especially when you come from English. Just like for us Farsi speaking people, it's very hard to learn English. Vice versa applies. The grammar is completely reversed and the pronunciations are so off. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. I have always said, first, it's glory to God for the courage, and then it's you guys. You have always been here for me. Even when I disappear for a long time, when I come back, you're all here, and I love that. And I'm back. Oh, hi, Wayne. Good one. Yes. Um, Maybe I should do a program on that. If you're not on Facebook, you won't see Wayne's comment. They make a big deal about the virtues act of giving zakat, which is zakat is Islamic tax. 1/8 is given to mujahideen. Mujahideen are those who commit jihad, so supporting terrorism. Yes, and um, I'm thinking maybe I should actually do. I've never covered the Islamic tax of zakat, Khams, where did I get that from? Khoms, which is the 1/5 applied in Shia. Not necessarily, some Wahhabis do the Khoms as well. Khoms means 1/5. Hi, Perry. Maybe I should do well, let me know. Either on the comment section or send an email my way, liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. Let me know if you want me to cover that whole zakat, homes, especially how it applies here in America. And also, if you're interested, if you want me to cover the whole system in America of Sharia loans for Muslims and non-Muslims that is going on in America, let me know if you're interested, and I'll make sure to do a stream on that one and give you all the information on zakat. I need to remember the proper pronunciation. Zakat here, Khoms, and also the Sharia loans here in America. Thank you. So do I. I am very glad I live here in America. I love America. I love all of you. Things are not as delightful as they should be, but we're working on that. Okay, let me conclude on Satanic Verses. Satanic Verses. As I said, I would suggest you pick up a copy. English language is available all over. You can find any of the publications on Amazon. And as Josh said, about $12 for a hard copy if you're like me. I need to, like, I'm old school. I gotta flip through the pages and read it. And yes, this is how we read Farsi. This is first page. We go from right to left. Imagine that. Now you pick up an English book, you're like, oh, I just opened the ending. I gotta go this way for the beginning. Pick up a copy if you want the digital format. That works too, but it's good to read it. I mean, at least for the fact that you be supporting a very a straightforward man who stood by his pen, as we say in Farsi, and did not budge to all these 35 years of threat now. Yes, please do cover Zakat and Sharia loan. Look forward to it. Sure, Wayne. Let's see if more people are interested in that topic, and I will most certainly schedule that to happen. I thank Jesus that. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I thank Jesus that he has given you the courage and ability to tell us all the truth. Thank you, so do I. I praise him every day. First, I praise him for putting me through the hell I went through, but protect me through all of it so the brainwash and the hatred did not affect me. Then I praise him for saving me and not giving up on me because I ran from him for a long time. And then I praise him every day for allowing me to have what it takes to sit here and do what I just did, because I think world needs to know. I think people need to also understand halal. Oh, good point. Freedom with Jesus, Chrissa. I think I have covered halal, but I can definitely squeeze that into the next topic as well. Yes, Wayne, I am aware. When they started doing Sharia loans in Australia, a good friend of mine, Iranian, in Australia, who's also a refugee, great man, he got to Australia, I want to say 12 years ago or so, 13 years ago. But he messaged me, he's like, you got to get on the phone. So we get on the phone. I'm like, what's that? He's like, you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. I'm like, okay, tell me. This is probably 6 years ago. He's like, they're starting Sharia banking in Australia. I'm like, they're starting what? They're like, yeah, they're going to do Sharia banking. I'm like, are they going to exclusively do it for Muslims or non-Muslims too? He's like, I don't know, but I'll keep you posted. And then later he told me that they have exception, like there's the full Sharia Islamic portion of it. Anyways, he did inform me of the situation in Australia, which was very heartbreaking. Stephen is asking, have you ever interviewed that man whose father was one of the co-founders of Hamas? I know he's been interviewed a lot. He's been warning us about Hamas. I have not interviewed him. I have watched some of his interviews. And the main reason I have not interviewed him is by gut feeling, I am not clear of him. I, how do I say this? He is partially telling the truth. I am not sure of his agenda behind telling the truth. So I'm kind of still studying him. All comes to realizing his agenda, his point of, his angle. I will most certainly reach out and try to schedule him for an interview. The pen has been a great symbol of Persia. Thank you. Yeah, we have this thing, you say I like somebody's style of writing. We always say we like their pen because, technically they use a pen to write whatever it is. So if you like somebody's style of writing, you always like their pen, or you don't like their pen. That's how we phrase it. Okay, let me just double check something. For some reason, no idea why, and it's not a big urgency right now. The Rumble comments are not coming in, so I'm actually switching back and forth between Rumble to make sure I'm not missing any comments. I see a comment here from Wavy. I think that's how we go. If you would allow me to skip answering your question for the fact that one, I'm no expert on dad. Two, I'm no expert on dad. I normally try to address things that I'm an expert on or somewhat have a knowledge of or kind of want to go there. So do part of me is I'm going to skip your question. Josh, you're always trying to be super cute, aren't you? What if they don't use a pen but a PC? When this phrase started in Persia, there was no such a thing as PC. It was a pen, which even the old ink pieces they used were called pen in Persia as well. So since it's a very old saying, those using PCs still have to go with the fact that we like or dislike their pen, and it is just the way it is. I don't think anybody would like it. I like your PC. Unless we say I like your type, which then could be misunderstood as I want to go on a date with you. Yes, Karen, I am going with my gut feeling for now. I have had those moments when I definitely was happy that I stopped getting close to someone or interview, give airtime to someone, and later it came to be, oh yeah, it was a good call. Rhonda, very good point. Oh, explode. Yeah, pens are much better. Again, I like to have an actual hard copy of my books that I buy, and I like to use my pen to write things down because you never know when your hard drive's gonna overheat and then your computer overheats and melts, literally melts in front of you. Been there, done that, not fun. Okay. I know, Josh. I have learned your style. I have learned your PC. How about that? So I know when you're just joking. Okay, back to let's close on this topic, which comes to, I understand there's lots and lots of narrative out there on facts such as, not all Muslims, not all Islam, yada, yada, yada. I get it. I don't agree with it. By definition, if I get technical, all Muslims, because even inside Quran itself says, those who do not commit jihad with their wealth or their life are not of Allah's favorites. But not getting too technical with things, this isn't about people. This isn't about Muslims. This isn't about Western Muslim versus Eastern. This is about the box of Islam. I wanted to dissect the book to prove, first of all, it's fun to talk about it because there has been a lot of talk about the Satanic Verses and Salman Rushdie, but there has not been enough talk of what is inside this book and how ridiculous it is. I always said, even if it was talk about this Satanic Verses inside Quran that are really satanic, so what? I mean, you let the audience or readers read and be the judge of it. The fact that you have to kill someone to silence them, and again, Salman Rushdie wasn't the first one, isn't the last one. Some actually did lose their life to do a cartoon of Muhammad. Simple as that. This is a pattern that comes from this toolbox, right? I have always referred to Islam as a toolbox. It's a toolbox that has many ticking bombs, pun intended. And anyone at any given moment, if they choose to use these tools inside this toolbox, they can do it. So I don't care. I mean, you want to be Muslim, be a Muslim, right? But be a Muslim in a country that accepts and aligns themselves with a Muslim. Here, I'm going to narrow it very much down to America. United States of America. When I came to America, a lot of things were catching my attention, of course. You're 18, you're kind of broken, you're kind of lost, you're kind of completely cuckoo up here. And a lot of things catches your attention. But one of the things early on that caught my attention really close, like here attention, was the fact of real definition of freedom. Meaning you can be offensive and I can be offended, right? Loved it. Still love it. Doesn't coexist. It can't coexist with a cult that will order a death on a person who wrote a book and use references that are historically proven out there. We're going to kill him, even though he's literally just using what your own people, your own writers put out, right? I will do that, Gregory. Check out J. Smith of, I will not even try to pronounce that, something films. He explains the lies of the history of Islam. Many lies, right? I missed the original comment. No. Oh, Joe says, I hope and pray the stories of people in Iran are turning to Christ are true. Yes, they are. Thank you, Gregory. It is true, yes. Many in huge numbers in Iran are coming to Christ. Yes. There are so many underground online churches that the regime can't keep up with. They tried, they arrested a few of the pastors, they shut down some of the physical underground churches, but at this point it's completely out of their hand. They can't keep up. So, yes, that is correct. That is accurate. They're doing everything in their power, them being the regime of Iran, to shut it down, stop it. They hanged 4 people publicly, thinking others are going to be scared. But I guess one thing they don't realize is, I don't know, if my fellow Iranians in Iran are feeling anything like I am, the power of trusting in Christ is way stronger than seeing your fellow man hanged and, being scared of dying next to them. So, yes, Stephen, a lot of translators, and as I said, the original fatwa or bounty by Khomeini was put on the writer, the publishing company, and the manager and the PR, the whole team involved with the very first copy coming out. Everybody was on their fatwa of being killed. And yes, Karen, I would say inside Middle East, this has nothing to do with racism, just for the record, but Iranian people have the highest level of education. And also remember, Iranians come from a long 2,800, almost 2,800 years of history, culture, art, music. It's very hard to take them to where countries like Pakistan and Afghanistan are. So it's hard to take them away from their origins, their heritage. So they are well informed, they're well educated, and they are absolutely fed up with this Sharia stuff. So that is definitely happening. Let me answer this one, Josh. Anyone who knows anything about anything and are looking for spiritual guidance makes you wonder who the hell in their right mind would convert to Islam. Many would do. Listen, a lot of, genuinely, I'm not defending, but genuinely, there's a huge number of black people converting to Islam for the reason of Jesus white, Muhammad black, right? To them, because white people are so bad and so evil, and Christ was white apparently, with no evidence involved, right? Because we don't look for evidence. The spiritual guide for them is to go follow the black guy. Now, again, I did a debate on Will Johnson's show a few years ago, 2018, 2017, sometime there. I debated a Muslim on air live regarding this very topic, showing him hadith saying Muhammad was so white you could see through him. But that's besides the point. What do I know? I'm just an ex-Muslim, right? Because apparently when you become an ex-Muslim, all your knowledge expires. Why do some of these countries allow these terrorist groups to exist in their nation like Iraq? Well, it's not that they allow it. It's that they don't have a choice. They've been conquered. Iran has been conquered. Pakistan has been conquered. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Egypt. A lot of countries are conquered. It's not that they okay, let me rephrase that answer. Because when it was time to push back and stop it, they didn't. Until it got too late. That's pretty much why. Good one, Dennis. Apparently one of Dennis's password on a government site was no Sharia. Agreed with that. Yes, exactly. That's what I was arguing. That who said Muhammad was black? Muhammad wasn't black at all. Have you ever heard of David Wood on YouTube? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I still, when I get a chance, I do watch some of his episodes. He's pretty good, especially the fact that he uses plenty of hadith sources. I like that. He's very, very well versed on hadith. Again, a lot of people do a lot of coverage with Quran, which I'm one of them. I rather go to Quran, but hadith has a story of its own, which I'm hoping to resume my webinars that I used to do back in 2019, if you remember, once a month, and tackle the Reliance of the Traveler that I have over there on that desk. Actually, be not here. Reliance of the Traveler and hadith. We got to get back to it. Well, hello, Phil. How you doing? So good to see you. You kind of joined us on the last minutes of the feed, but it's still good to see you. 90 million killed in India, 60 million in Europe in Islamic conquest. Yes. And many more in different countries and other countries. Bottom line is, I need to wrap this up. I kind of forgot I need to wrap this up. You see, this is why I love doing these lives with you guys, because you're awesome. Okay. Conclusion, or my conclusion. You take your own conclusion or draw your own conclusion. Islam is a toolbox with plenty of ticking bombs for anyone who's willing to grab it and blow themselves up with it. Literally and figuratively, that's what Islam is. And now, unfortunately, I will pick this up on the next stream Monday. But now, unfortunately, these Islamists have teamed up with Trump's haters to take him out. I'll let you be the judge of what the result could be, this one. And I'm genuinely asking you, start sending me your emails, liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. Send me your emails. We used to do this. Those of you who are with me, who were with me before, from 2017, 16, 18, 19. Send me topics you want me to cover. Send me questions you have ahead of time. We're doing this Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday on all the channels you're looking right now. On my Facebook, on my YouTube, on my X, and on Rumble, Lou Dobbs Media. I know I mispronounced that word. All 4 channels, I will be live from 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to go probably until 8, sometimes shorter, sometimes a few minutes over. So send me ideas, send me questions, send me concept, whatever you want me to cover, we're going to do it. I will ask you, as always, head over to my artist studio, lutfstudio.com. I do have new inventory. That's how I fund most of what I do here. Remember, I don't have a producer. I don't have a cameraman. This is all happening me. I do my own research. I do my own translation. I do my own everything. It could be time consuming at times, and I do it gladly. It is my honor to do it. But please try to support me. I know Christmas shopping is starting already. Grab handmade art for your loved ones. lutfstudio.com, and head over to liveuptofreedom.com. Sign up to my free newsletter, because now we have the shows out. I'm going to start sending out newsletters once a week to recap the week. If you are with us on Rumble of Lou Dobbs Media, stay tuned, hang out here, because in an hour at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Michael Lauber and Derek Evans are going live with the insurrection, which they will tell you all about what happened this morning and all the assassinations on President Trump. Amazing show. Get behind them. And those of you on my platform, head over to Rumble and get on Lou Dobbs Media channel before 9 p.m. so you can tune in and watch Derek Evans and Michael Lauber cover the news, because I don't do that. I just talk Islam. I'm kidding. I'll do that. Okay, guys, I got to run. You're amazing. I will see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m., right? Tomorrow, I will not do much comments because I do have 2 guests on the show, but still, that's going to be a great conversation. Don't forget.